when the structures you built no longer carry the same meaning, and a quiet restlessness stirs within you. Psychology teaches us that this is not mere chance. It is the deep wisdom of the psyche. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And so, when the unconscious begins to rise, when hidden truths and forgotten dreams push against the walls of your ordinary life, it can feel like confusion, even chaos. But in truth, it is the first sign of alignment. That inner unease is not a mistake. It is your soul signaling that the life you have lived up until now is too small for who you are becoming. It is the beginning of a dialogue between your conscious self and the deeper forces that have always been shaping your destiny. And if you can listen, if you can pay attention, you will notice something profound. Life begins to speak to you through signs, synchronicities, patterns too precise to ignore. What once looked like coincidence now feels like guidance. What once felt random now carries meaning. This is the language of the psyche, the way your inner world and outer world begin to align, drawing you toward the path that was always yours. So, if you feel restless, if you feel the signs surrounding you, if you feel that the old life is falling away, do not be afraid. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. There comes a peculiar moment in every life when the soul begins to stir with a restlessness that cannot be ignored. It is not the kind of discomfort that comes from a simple problem or a passing mood. No, it is deeper. It arrives like a quiet unease, like the walls of the life you've been living are closing in. You may look around and everything appears the same. Your routines, your work, the faces you see each day, yet within you, something feels off. It is as if the outer world no longer mirrors who you are becoming inside. And that tension, that subtle dissatisfaction, is the very beginning of alignment. People often mistake this restlessness as failure, as though something has gone wrong. They think, why can't I just be happy with what I have? Why does it feel like something is missing? But this feeling is not a curse. It is the soul's way of waking you up. The psyche is saying, the life you built has carried you as far as it could, but now you must move towards something greater. That unease is not a punishment. It is a signal, a sign that you are standing at the threshold of transformation. You see, before a new path reveals itself, the old one must first become uncomfortable. If it remained pleasant, you would stay there forever. Change never comes while we are fully content. It comes when we are pressed by an invisible force that says, this is no longer enough. It is the cracking of the shell before new life can emerge. And so, if you feel restless, if you feel like something in your world no longer fits, do not despair. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Think of it like the caterpillar who feels the pressing urge to spin its cocoon. It cannot explain why. It only knows the instincts within are stronger than the comfort of staying the same. To anyone watching from the outside, it looks like destruction. But inside that cocoon, transformation is taking place. That is what happens within you when life becomes restless. The structures that once held you are dissolving, making space for wings you cannot yet see. It is in these moments that many people turn back. They feel the discomfort, they interpret it as failure, and they try to force themselves back into old patterns. They cling to relationships that no longer serve them, jobs that suffocate their spirit, and identities that were never truly theirs. And in doing so, they silence the very signal meant to guide them forward. But for those who dare to listen, for those who are brave enough to allow the discomfort to lead them, life begins to shift in miraculous ways. The truth is, you cannot discover a new path while clinging to the old. Restlessness is the first step because it shakes you loose from illusions of permanence. It forces you to question, is this truly who I am? Is this truly where I belong? And in the asking of those questions, doors begin to open. They may not open immediately in the outer world, but they begin to open inside you, in your perception, in your awareness, in your sense of possibility. Perhaps you feel it right now. Perhaps there is something in your life that once felt safe, but now feels suffocating. Perhaps there is an invisible weight pressing on your chest each morning, whispering that you are not where you are meant to be. If so, I tell you this, honor that feeling. Do not rush to silence it with distractions or numbness. Sit with it, listen to it, because it is the voice of your becoming. It is the seed of alignment pushing through the soil. You may ask, but what if I do not know where to go next? That is the paradox. The restlessness does not reveal the whole path. It only tells you that the path you are on is too small. It does not provide the map, it provides the spark. And once that spark ignites, you are invited to step forward, not with certainty, but with trust. You will not see the full picture yet, but the unrest is proof that there is more waiting. The discomfort you feel today is not the enemy. It is the hand of life nudging you toward your true direction. To fight it is to fight your own evolution. To embrace it is to align with the destiny that has been quietly preparing itself for you all along. So when you feel restless, when you sense the old life no longer fits, do not see it as a breakdown. See it as a breakthrough. Because the moment of unease is not the end of your path. It is the very sign that your path is about to begin. Would you like me to keep this same style and expand each of the other 5 key points into similar flowing segments, so you'll have a complete, seamless 28 to 30-minute speech? When the restlessness within has stirred you awake, life does not leave you wandering in complete darkness. Slowly, quietly, almost mysteriously, signs begin to appear. They do not shout, they whisper. They arrive in small ways. A word you overhear at the exact moment you needed it, a book falling into your hands as though placed there, a chance meeting with someone who carries a message you didn't know you were seeking. These moments feel unusual, and yet strangely familiar, as if the world itself is trying to speak to you. Most people dismiss them. They call them coincidences, accidents, nothing more than random events. But the soul knows better. The soul recognizes these encounters as threads being woven together, pulling you toward the tapestry of your destiny. Life, when you are attentive, reveals itself through synchronicity. The inner restlessness that shook you awake begins to meet the outer world in these subtle alignments, showing you that the path is not only real, but already unfolding beneath your feet. Have you ever noticed how, when you are thinking deeply about a change, the world seems to mirror your thoughts back to you? You begin to hear the same phrase in conversations, you see the same symbol repeated. You encounter people who speak directly to what you've been silently wrestling with. These are not accidents. They are confirmations. They are the psyche and the world reflecting each other, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. The deeper truth is that life is not a chaos of unrelated pieces. It is a vast web of meaning. Everything is connected, and when you are moving toward your true path, the connections become visible. But to see them, you must be willing to slow down and pay attention. You must learn to listen not only with your ears, but with your whole being. Because alignment is not announced with thunder, it comes quietly, like the turning of a page. Consider the way the night sky guides a traveler. The stars do not shout, yet to the one who looks up, their placement forms a map. In the same way, your life is filled with stars, small moments, encounters, patterns, that form constellations of meaning when you step back and look with open eyes. The more you notice them, the more they appear, until you realize the universe has always been speaking. The signs were always there, only now you are awake enough to see them. This is why it is said that what you seek is also seeking you. When your inner world shifts, the outer world begins to respond. You attract into your orbit the very experiences, people, and opportunities that reflect your readiness. They are not here to entertain you, they are here to guide you. They are the markers on the road, the quiet assurance that even if you do not yet know the destination, you are moving in the right direction. But there is a challenge hidden in this. Many people notice the signs but doubt them. They tell themselves, it was just a coincidence, I'm imagining things, I'm reaching. And in doing so, they close their eyes again, returning to the illusion that life is random. But those who trust, those who choose to see meaning in the patterns, begin to live differently. They no longer walk blindly. They begin to walk with a sense of partnership, with life, with destiny, with something far greater than themselves. Perhaps you have experienced this already. Perhaps you've had a thought in your mind, and suddenly someone speaks it aloud to you. Perhaps you've carried a question quietly, and the answer appeared in a book, or a song, or a stranger's words. Perhaps you've felt drawn to a place, without knowing why, only to discover it was where you were meant to meet the next chapter of your story. These are not tricks of chance. They are the language of alignment. What matters is not how extraordinary the sign appears, but how deeply it resonates within you. The world does not waste time sending you messages you cannot understand. The signs that come to you are tailored to your soul, carrying a meaning only you can decode. For one person, it may be a number repeating itself. For another, it may be a dream so vivid it lingers long after waking. Life speaks to each of us in a language we are capable of hearing, if only we choose to listen. So I tell you, when these signs appear, do not dismiss them. Do not reduce them to coincidence. Instead, treat them as sacred conversation between you and the greater order of life. Write them down, reflect upon them, and most importantly, allow them to guide your steps. They may not tell you the whole journey, but they will tell you where to place your foot next. And when you begin to live in this way, attentive, open, responsive, you will notice something remarkable. The signs do not stop. They multiply. They grow clearer, more undeniable, as though life is saying, yes, keep going, you are on the way. The path you once thought hidden reveals itself, piece by piece, through the mysterious alignments of each passing day. This is how you know your path is beginning to align, when the outer world conspires with your inner world, when coincidences become too perfect to ignore, and when you realize that what once felt like chance is in fact guidance. So when the signs appear, do not ask, is this real? Ask instead, what is life showing me now? Because every alignment, every synchronicity, is not a random flicker of chance. It is destiny knocking gently at your door. Would you like me to move on and expand key point 3 in the same tone, so the flow of your full speech starts taking shape? When the signs begin to appear, and you feel the world nudging you forward, something else follows, something more difficult, more unsettling. You begin to lose what no longer belongs to you. At first, it feels cruel. The friendships that once defined you start to fade. The work that once gave you security feels unbearable. Even the habits that once brought comfort suddenly feel hollow. You may try to hold on, gripping tightly to what is slipping away, but the harder you cling, the more painful the letting go becomes. This is the necessary stripping away, the clearing of space before the new can enter. You see, alignment is not only about receiving, it is about release. Before life places you where you are meant to be, it removes what cannot travel with you. The path ahead requires a lighter soul, and so you are asked, sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly, to put down the weight you've carried for too long. This process is rarely easy. We are creatures of attachment. We build our identities around the people we know, the routines we keep, the structures we rely upon. To let them go feels like losing part of ourselves. And yet, what you are losing is not your essence, but the mask that covered it. What falls away was never truly yours. It was only borrowed for a season, only meant to carry you until you were ready to step into something greater. Think of the trees in autumn. Their leaves, once vibrant and alive, begin to dry and fall. To the unknowing eye, it looks like death, like loss. But the tree knows differently. It knows the shedding is not the end, but the preparation for renewal. If the tree clung desperately to every leaf, spring could never come. In the same way, the losses you face are not meant to break you. They are meant to prepare you. Life is asking you to trust that even in the emptiness, something new is forming beneath the surface. It is natural to resist. We mourn the relationships that end, the roles we must leave behind, the versions of ourselves we can no longer carry. But what if the ending is not a punishment, but protection? What if the door closing is life's way of making sure you do not remain where you no longer belong? We often pray for alignment, for clarity, for transformation. But when it arrives, it does not always come as addition. It comes as subtraction. It comes as silence where once there was noise, as emptiness where once there was fullness. And in that emptiness, we are remade. There is a sacred intelligence in what leaves your life. Not everything or everyone can walk with you into the future. Some people belong only to a chapter, not the whole book. Some habits belong only to your past, not your becoming. Some identities must be dissolved so your true self can emerge. And so, life does what you cannot. It removes them for you. It strips away what clutters your path, even when you resist, even when you do not yet understand. At first, it will feel like loss. But with time, you will see it was love. The universe does not take from you what you still need. It only takes what would hold you back from where you are meant to go. And though you may grieve, though you may ache, something deeper inside you will begin to feel lighter. Slowly, you will notice a quiet space opening in your heart. And in that space, new life begins to grow. Perhaps right now you are in the midst of this stripping away. Perhaps you feel doors closing, people leaving, opportunities dissolving. And perhaps it feels unfair, confusing, even cruel. But I ask you to look closer. Wasn't there already a part of you that knew these things no longer fit? Wasn't there already a voice inside whispering that you had outgrown them? Life is simply making visible what you already sensed deep within. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are being refined for what lies ahead. Every ending is a doorway disguised as loss. Every release is an invitation to step closer to your truest self. If you try to hold on to everything, you will weigh yourself down. But if you dare to trust the process, if you allow the unnecessary to fall away, you will find yourself lighter, freer, ready to walk into the alignment you once only dreamed of. So when life begins to strip away what no longer serves you, do not resist. Do not curse the endings. Instead, see them as blessings in disguise. Because the moment you stop clinging to what is fading, you open your hands to receive what is waiting. And that is the secret of alignment. It is not found in addition, but in release. Do you want me to continue with key point 4 in the same deep, flowing style so your speech builds momentum smoothly? As life begins to clear away what no longer serves you, you will notice something else emerging, something more intimate, more difficult to face. The world outside is changing, yes, but what becomes even more confronting is the world within. The shadows you have carried, the fears you have silenced, the doubts you have buried deep, all begin to surface. It is not because life is cruel or because you are failing. It is because alignment requires truth. And the truth of who you are cannot be found only in your light. It is also revealed in the places you have tried hardest to avoid. There comes a point when you can no longer escape your own reflection. You begin to see the patterns that repeat, the old wounds that quietly govern your choices, the insecurities that whisper when you stand at the edge of change. And this confrontation feels heavy. It feels as though life is dragging you backward, when in reality it is pulling you inward. Because before you can step forward into alignment, you must face the parts of yourself that would sabotage it. We are all tempted to deny these shadows. We tell ourselves we are fine. We distract ourselves with business, with noise, with the comfort of pretending. But life has a way of placing before us the very situations that reveal what we would rather not see. That fear of abandonment shows itself in your relationships. That unhealed wound from childhood echoes in your present decisions. That lack of self-worth appears in the opportunities you reject, in the dreams you never allow yourself to claim. It is not coincidence. It is your inner world asking to be seen. To face your shadow is not to condemn yourself, but to finally embrace the fullness of who you are. The fears and doubts within you are not signs of weakness. They are unfinished stories. They are parts of you still waiting for love, still waiting for acknowledgement. And when they rise to the surface, it is not to harm you, but to invite you to heal. You cannot walk into your alignment carrying wounds you refuse to recognize. The unacknowledged always finds a way to speak, and so life compels you to listen. This is why many people turn away at this stage. They want alignment, they want purpose, they want transformation. But they do not want to face the mirror. They do not want to sit with their pain or acknowledge their fears. They run, they blame others, they cling to illusions. But those who are willing to stay, to look into the depths of their own soul, find something remarkable. They discover that the shadow is not an enemy, but a teacher. The fear that rises shows you where courage is needed. The doubt that lingers reveals where faith must be built. The wound that aches uncovers the very place where healing will give you strength. Everything you have avoided becomes the exact material from which your transformation is crafted. Nothing is wasted, not even your suffering. And when you dare to meet yourself fully, when you stop running from what hurts, you begin to reclaim your power. You realize that the shadow has no control once it is brought into the light. You see that the very places you felt most broken become the places where wisdom grows. This is why alignment is not about escaping your darkness, but integrating it, carrying it with awareness, with compassion, with strength. Perhaps right now you are being confronted with fears you thought you had already overcome. Perhaps old wounds are resurfacing, asking to be healed once and for all. Do not see this as regression. See it as refinement. Life is preparing you for the path ahead, and it will not allow you to walk forward carrying illusions. It strips away your masks not to expose your weakness, but to reveal your authenticity. And though it is painful, there is also liberation in it. To face your shadow is to free yourself from its hidden grip. To acknowledge your fear is to loosen its hold. To embrace your wounds is to transform them into wisdom. This is how you become whole. This is how you step into alignment not as a fractured self, but as someone complete, grounded, and ready. So do not run from the shadows that rise within you. Do not silence them or pretend they are not there. Sit with them, listen to them, understand them. Because every fear has something to teach, every wound carries a hidden gift, and every doubt holds the possibility of faith. The path ahead demands not that you be perfect, but that you be real. And when you face the depths of yourself with courage,